Can you take the Commission through the point?
From paragraph 28, it is alleged that on the 30th of May, at about 10:30, members from a task team under the command of Captain Pedro Rodriguez shot at a vehicle, a Toyota Fortuner, to kill the driver. It is alleged that 10 members were part of the operation stop the vehicle on the M13, highway eastbound to Westville on the M13. 14 rounds were shot from the rifle at the said vehicle. Fortunately for the driver of the vehicle was an armor-proof vehicle. During the incident, the driver telephonically contacted the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Konasi, who informed him to drive off to the Pavilion shopping mall situated in Westville. The driver adhered to the instruction of the Provincial Commissioner, and he drove to the Pavilion shopping center, where he met senior officers from Westville SAPS. The 10 members on the task team followed the driver. However, when they reached the Pavilion Shopping Center, they were greeted by the Pavilion security and senior police officers from Westville SAPS. Investigations have thus far revealed that there was a shooting of a taxi chairperson by the name of Reginald Boy Gladla in Hillcrest, and there was evidence that two suspects were identified for the murder. Captain Rodriguez was tasked with apprehending a suspect. The first suspect was allegedly killed when Colonel Kalashwayo's team tried to arrest him. This murder case is investigated by IPID under Hillcrest Case 121/05/2024. The circumstances are as 2024.
Sorry, before you get to the
circumstances are as...
Can you please look at paragraph 33? Can you please look at paragraph number 33? Is it the same one? There, it's all the numbers except for the 05 and the 03 are the all the numbers except for the 05 and the 03 are the same. I'm just checking if perhaps you've not, if it's the same case, I'm checking if you've not made a mistake. If it's the same case, I'm checking if you've not on the 05 or the 03, or are they different cases?
Thank you, Chair. It's a typographical error. Thank you, Chair. It's a 05. Typographical error.
05. So at 33 we must change it to 05.
05.
So at 33 please continue then. The circumstances are as follows.
The circumstances are as follows. The suspect was initially arrested while he was preparing to depart for Gauteng. There is a first suspect that was identified by Colonel Kalashwayo. So they arrested him at the KZN airport on a murder case, which was Pinetown Cas 457/08/2022, in which a taxi boss was killed. Taxi boss, in which indicated his name, Reginald Boy. I've indicated his name, Reginald Boy Gladla. It is alleged that the police questioned the suspect about the firearm that was used in the Pinetown murder, and he then took them to his friend's residence in Hillcrest.
Which airport is this? You said KZN airport. Which airport is this? You said KZN.
That's the King Shaka Airport. That's the Commissioner King Shaka Airport.
All right, thank you.
It is alleged that the police questioned the suspect about the firearm that was used in the Pinetown murder, and he took them to his friend's residence in Hillcrest. Whilst at the said premises, the suspect requested to use the toilet. At the relevant time, he was allegedly accompanied by two police officers. The police alleged that the suspect reached for a firearm that was hidden underneath the sink in the toilet. One police officer then wrestled the suspect for the firearm, during which a round went off, at which point the second police officer shot the deceased. It is alleged that the deceased in Hillcrest Cas 121/05/2022-2024, who was a well-known established businessman in the taxi industry, had borrowed the Toyota Fortuner from Mr. Ngobo. The complainant in Pinetown Cas 678/5/2025.
Sorry.
case with a typo.
No, it's one case, Chair.
So which one do we change?
Chair, it's 678. The heading.
The correct one is
678.
So at 33, then we change the 673 to 678.
678, that's correct. My apologies for that, Chair.
No problem.
Another observation, in the heading, you have 67805-2024.
Had left the scene prior to LCRC obtaining the samples as is procedurally required. This all took place under the instructions received from Major General Ngobosi. During IPED's investigation, it was established that Captain Rodriguez and another member's vehicle had false registration plates affixed to the SAPS vehicle that were used for the said operation. The SAPS vehicle used with unmarked vehicles used were unmarked vehicles with no official SAPS insignia or markings to show that they were official SAPS vehicles. KZN proceeded with the investigation, and after discussion with the control prosecutor, arrested 9 of the 10 members of the task team, and they appeared in Pinetown Court on the 11th of July 2024, and Captain Rodriguez
At 11, I'm not sure if this is a convenient time to break.
Yeah, just one quick question. I just want to understand your narration of this incident, the Pinetown incident. Are you doing so with a view to advancing the idea that the task teams, or some of them, are infiltrated by criminal gangs? If so, how?
Chair, I would believe that they are being used by other taxi rival gangs. Because in this case here, the chairperson of the taxi in the Pinetown area was killed. And the police went all out looking for the other 2. And when they found the first one, they found him at the airport. And he willingly took them to his friend's house. On that investigation where he was shot, the version of the police doesn't make zinc. There's no built-in cupboards there that you can put a firearm under the zinc. So the version is totally contradictory to the crime scene. And then they went all out for the second suspect. And when they went for the second suspect, you could see that they deliberately wanted to kill him, not realizing that the vehicle was a armor-plated vehicle. So that is why I believe that they were ordered by someone to take out those two suspects for murdering the chairperson of the taxi industry.
Thank you. Let's resume at 20 to 12. Let's adjourn.
Please make sure that your cell phones are off or on silent. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. We come now to the case of the death of Mr. Loftus, Mr. Bevan Loftus, and 4 other deceased on the 1st of April 2023. It's an episode that you address from page 23 of the statement. Maybe if you can start by just talking briefly about, to provide the context of turf wars between gangs involved in the tow truck industry and the drug industry.
Thank you, Commissioner. Due to the number of years of my experience in law enforcement and investigations spanning 40 years, I'm aware that some operators in the tow truck industry are also involved in the drug industry. The tow trucks are utilized as a tool to transport and supply drugs throughout the eThekwini municipality. Over the years, there were many turf wars between tow truck companies over routes. There are numerous cases where these turf wars have resulted in violent crimes, including murder and attempted murder. There is a YouTube video pertaining to the tow truck and drug turf wars.
You've given the reference. I'm not sure we're going to, I don't think we'll play it now, but
Okay.
if the commissioners want to click the link, they can in due course. You've already mentioned earlier on about collusion between SAPS members and the tow truck owners. But at paragraph 59, you describe the main role players in the towing industry. Can you take the commission through paragraph 59?
Okay, the main role players in the towing industry in and around Durban and the areas of operation include the following, but they're not limited to these. I just highlighted a few. In Chatsworth, you got the UA, which is Ugly Americans, UA Ugly American Kings, Shilton's, Precision Towing Company, and Exhibit Towing Company. In the south areas, you got Unique Towings in Brighton Beach, Durban South Tow Lines, Central, M7 and the N2, Justin Tow Lines, Towing Industry, Eganson Highway to Abugotini area. In the Phoenix, you got G7 Tow Lines, Classic Tow Lines, and Ordain's Tow Lines. And Durban and surrounding, you got Roadstar Tow Trucks, Springtown, Asherville, Sydenham, Overport, and the N2.
Now, what you haven't mentioned in paragraph 59 is the tow truck company of Mr. Bevan Loftus. Do you recall what that tow truck company was called?
Okay, I put it down below.
Well, if I put it to you that it's first for KZN.
First, yes, that's right. First for KZN. And the other tow truck company that we look at is Roadstar Tow Truck.
And who is associated with Roadstar?
There is Clive Nyker. Now, the reason I highlighted the two tow trucks is because Bevan's and Clive were competitions to each other in the towing industry. They were competitions to each other. And the shootings arising from tow truck turf wars include the following. Alan Subramani, the director of Durban South Towing and Panel Beaters, was allegedly shot. There is a case number there provided. Jonathan David Thomas, driver at Durban South Towing and Panel Beaters, was allegedly shot, and I've got a case number. Marlon Stewart and Jonathan Thompson of Durban South Towing and Panel Beaters were murdered. I've got the Durban Central CARES number.
You said Thompson, it's Thomas.
Thomas.
And is it the same person referred to in 60.2?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Thank you.
And then there was a Calvin Peresami, the leader of the Blood Gang, owner of taxis and tow truck. He was fatally wounded on the 6th of June 2018 at the Gateway Shopping Mall parking lot in a alleged hit by a rival gang.
Now, we'll get to the case you describe in 60.2 in relation to Jonathan David Thomas, Bele case 75/12/2021. But for present purposes, can you confirm that it was alleged that Bevan Loftus was involved in that shooting?
That's correct.
Then in paragraph 65, or from paragraph 65, you describe or you summarize the events relating to the killing of Mr. Loftus. Can you take the Commission through paragraph 61 and 62?
Okay, on Saturday, the 1st of April 2023, at about 1400 hours, 5 deceased were shot and killed by members of the task team under the command of Colonel Govender. The shooting occurred inside a flat in a residential building. The SAPS members allegedly identified the flat after arresting a suspect in Greenwood Park, CARES 194/03/2023. When the task team entered the flat, it is alleged that the deceased opened fire on the members of the task team who returned fire, fatally wounding all 5 deceased. Mr. Zondi was alleged to be an Inkabi or hitman. The 4 other men killed in the incident was Bevan Loftus, Ryan Santos, Chase Finn, and Michigan Hippolyte were involved in the towing industry. The task team members alleged that the deceased were also involved in the drug industry. The version of the task team members is that they were looking for one of the 5 deceased, who was Bevan Loftus, who was allegedly implicated in the following cases: Brighton Beach CARES 64/6/2022, which was a theft of motor vehicle; Brighton Beach CARES 242/11/2021, attempted murder; Berea CARES 28/1/2023, attempted murder; Bele CARES 75/12/2021, attempted murder; Berea CARES 23/2/2022, attempted murder; and Greenwood Park CARES 194/3/2023, murder.
Now, we'll get to these dockets a little later. But maybe if you can pick up from paragraph 65, where you set out the thesis that this killing actually was a killing performed by a task team at the instance of a rival drug gang owner.
Okay, Commissioner, during our investigation, we've interviewed the family members of the deceased, and more especially the family members of Bevan Loftus and Chase Finn and Michigan Hippolyte. We've interviewed them, and during our interview there was a recording that was given to us. A recording where a person where Bevan Loftus contacted Clive Nyker, who is the owner of Roadstar Towing and Trucking. So he contacted Clive Nyker, and in that recording, he inquired from Clive Nyker why he put a 2.5 million hit on him. It's clear in the recording. He asked Clive Nyker, why you got a problem with me, and how is it that you put a 2.5 million hit at me? And in the recording, he indicates that he is aware that Clive Nyker engaged Dina Govender and his team to take him out. So with that recording, we then started to do the investigation, and we believe that due to this 2.5 million hit, Colonel Dina Govender and his team, they went all out looking for Bevan and the other 4 deceased. Now, in the investigation, the police has indicated, or Dina Govender and his team indicated, that they went into the premises and the 5 deceased shot at them. But from our investigation, it is not as they have indicated. The 5 deceased were in a premises that nobody could go through the premises. They were in a flat, and in order to go to the flat, you have to get permission downstairs. The security will have to let you to go into the flat after they've communicated with the occupants of the flat. So, would the deceased been in the premises, they would not have allowed the police to come through, because they knew the police were looking out for them to take them out. Because prior to the shooting, 2 of our members from IPAD received intelligence from counterintelligence that the police, same Dina Govender and his team, were going to take out Bevan Loftus and whoever is with him. So my 2 investigators engaged with the DPP's office to do a Section 205, a 252 operation. They wanted to do a 252 operation in order to trap the police to when they were going to do the shooting. But with the discussion of the DPP, it was not going to be possible. Because if the police was arrested prior to the shooting, they would say that they're going for investigation. And the only way to have prevented him from getting shot and killed was to ask him to change the place where he was staying. The 2 investigators contacted the father of the deceased, and that's Mr. Greg Loftus, and informed him that they received this information, this intelligence from a reliable crime intelligence source, and they are passing that information over to him that they can now ask Bevan Loftus and his friends to change the address where they are. But the father indicated that they also received the same information, that the police was going to kill. In fact, prior to the shooting, the police had visited Mr. Greg Loftus's house more than 3 times. They went looking for Bevan Loftus. Constantly, they went looking for him. In one visit to the house, they indicated to the father that we're not here to arrest Bevan. We're here to kill him. They even told the father, you must prepare, go and get his funeral cover and insurance, everything in order, because they're going to kill him. That is what the father will talk about it when he comes.
Sorry, Mr. John, you speak about an approach to the DPP and an attempt to set up a 242 operation.
252.
252, sorry. Do you have that correspondence? Is it documented anywhere?
I've got a statement of my investigator together with the diary entries when they went to the DPP's office.
We haven't seen those documents, so I think in the lunch, do you have it with you?
Yeah, I've got it with me.
I think in the lunch break, it would be important for us to see those documents and to get copies thereof. But maybe if we can go back to the statement, because I mean, you've sketched out your broad thesis, but there is, from paragraph 66, you set out some more detailed evidence, and I think that evidence is important to highlight.
Okay.
So can we pick up at 66?
The Commission has requested the AVL check-in records of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and the banking records of him and his wife. It has also obtained evidence of cash payments made on behalf of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender to conveyance attorneys attending to the transfer of a 2.35 million property in Isibaya, which he and his wife had purchased. The records obtained by the Commissioner shows the following. At the relevant time, the monthly take-home remuneration of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender from SAPS was less than 26,000.
Can I stop you there, and can we actually go to page 1246 of the exhibits bundle, 1246.
File 3, Mr. John. File number 3.
Okay.
File number 3 on page 1246. The spine of the file will say file
Number
3.
3.
Sorry, sorry. Last time we said we should only show the relevant transactions and not file the whole thing. I don't know if you are ready with that. If not,
We don't have a redacted copy. There's no need to flight this.
all right, thank you.
And if you look at the entry on 29 December, on that page, you will see the take-home salary that was paid to Lieutenant Colonel Govender on the 29th of December 2023.
That's correct.
And it is, if I can just point out to the commissioners that amount is less than 26,000 rands. That's the end of this period we're talking about. Can you then go to paragraph 66.2? And maybe before we go to paragraph 66.2, because you're talking about ABL records that reflect that Lieutenant Colonel Govender switched off his vehicle at a place 31 meters away from the address. It says Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender, it should be Mr. Naika. Can I ask you to go to page 1428 again in that same file, 1428.
The next one, file 4.
Mr. Chairperson, you say the same file.
It is the same file, file 3. It is file 4.
It's a
I
different file.
apologize.
1, 4.
File 4.
Yeah,
File 4, and it's 1428.
Mr. John, did you make the correction in 66.2 where it says at a place 31 meters away from the address of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender, it should be
Yeah.
Mr. Clive Naika.
Do you have a bank statement at 1428?
No, I've got the bank statement at 1428, that's correct.
And it's a bank statement of Mr. Naika,
That's correct.
and it gives his address. We won't say what that address is.
Yes, the address is there.
If you then go to page 1427,
That's correct.
you will see that these are AVL records from SAPS. For whose vehicle are these AVL records?
Well, this AVL records are for the vehicle that Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender used.
And if you look at the GPS coordinates under incident location, are those the GPS coordinates of the address of Mr. Naika?
That's correct.
The address that we just saw in the
Yes.
bank statement?
Yeah.
So if you can then go through paragraph 66.2. I can keep 1427 open because I'm going to ask you to explain with reference to 1427. Keep 1427 open or to hand because I'm going to ask you to explain paragraph 66.2 with reference to page 1427.
Okay, on 16th of August at 1600 hours, 29 seconds, the SAPS BMW vehicle issued to Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender was switched off its ignition and stopped for 7.5 minutes at a place 31 meters away from the address, which is identified on the extract from the AVL records in the bundle.
And can you show to the Commission, if we go back to 1427, where do you see that?
You see it on the top first two lines. You got the first one, ignition off, and it gives you the address. And then you would see that there's a startup. So the ignition was switched off at 1600 hours, 29 seconds. And the startup was, the vehicle started again at 1600 hours, 07:50 at the same premises.
And that was on 16 August 2022.
That's correct.
Can you then take us through paragraph 66.3, but maybe before you go to 66.3, let's take the Commission to file 4, pages 1434 to 1435.
One,
1434. Maybe, yes. Yeah. Just check if it's got bank account numbers redacted. Okay, then you can show it. Now, can you describe what this spreadsheet shows?
Okay, these are cash deposits that were made into the bank account of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife, who is also a SEPS member.
And on this, on the screen that's displayed, the column that says account is redacted, but there are various different accounts in the unredacted. And the references to the actual bank statements and their pagination in the record is in the bundle column, which is the fourth column.
That's
so
correct.
if I might, if we can just take an example. We see that on using the bundle reference at 1420, there are a succession of cash deposits into what is a home loan account. And if we go to 1420, we will see the bank statement. The bank statement for that.
That's correct.
That specific account, which will reflect those cash deposits.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Then in paragraph 66.3, in the subparagraphs of 66.3, you summarize the overall picture. Can you take the Commission through that summary?
Okay. Commissioner, the 63.3.1, between the 29th of August 2022 and the 18th of December 2023, cash deposits aggregating to 2,343,050 rand were made into the bank accounts of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife, who is also a SEPS member. Sorry, it's 2,034,350 rand. Correction, 2,034,350 rand. That's cash deposits.
Then 66.3.2.
66, okay. On the 15th of May 2023, cash amounts aggregating to a total of 179,800 rand for the benefit of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife were deposited into the bank account of the conveyancers, attending to the transfer of a 2.3 million property that they had purchased.
And 66.3.3.
On the 19th of May, another cash deposit of 200,000 for the benefit of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife was paid to the conveyancing attorney.
Now, just for the benefit of the commissioners, the conveyancing attorneys, as was their duty, reported these cash deposits to the Financial Intelligence Center.
That's correct.
And a letter from the conveyancing attorneys can be confirming that these cash deposits were indeed made, can be found at pages 1330 and 1331. Then 66.3.4.
On April, the 26th of April 2023, an amount of 298,000 462 rands was transferred into the home loan account of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender.
And are you able to source the origin of that transfer?
No.
66.4?
The cash amounts above aggregates to 2,414,150 rand.
66.5?
When the unattributed transfer of 298,462 is added to this amount, the aggregate is 2,712,612 rand.
And in 66.6, you refer to the bank statements and
Yes,
the spreadsheets. We've already taken them.
That's correct. That's correct.
Can you then go to paragraph 67?
67, on the 31st of March 2022, the day before Bevan Loftus was killed by the task team led by Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender, his father, Mr. Gregory Loftus, applied to the High Court, inter alia, to interdict Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and the SAPS from killing Bevan Loftus. Mr. Loftus was a former SAPS member. He owned the adjacent property on which he and Bevan Loftus lived. That's Mr. Gregory Loftus. He was a former SAPS member.
And can I ask you to go to file 1, page 4?
I'm with it.
And can you identify the document that you see starting at page 4?
Yes, this is the court interdict that was sought for.
And the stamp of the court on that document, can you identify that?
It's dated the 31st of March 2023.
And what day was Bevan Loftus actually killed?
He was killed on the 1st.
The next day?
The next day.
So this application was issued the day before?
That's correct.
You say in paragraph, can I then ask you to go to paragraph 68?
In his founding affidavit in the interdict application, Mr. Gregory Loftus alleged that Mr. Clive Naika had promised to pay Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender 2.5 million to kill Bevan Loftus.
Then can I ask you to go to the bundle itself and to paragraph 18 of that interdict, the founding affidavit and the interdict application, at the foot of page 17, paragraph 18.
During 2022, both Bevan and myself received information that there was an assassination contract put on Bevan's life in the amount of 2.5 million. I also received information from a policeman. I know that the hit on my son was genuine. The word was that I should be careful because if they cannot kill Bevan, they would kill my son, Nicholas, or myself.
Back to paragraph 69, and then maybe if you can take us through the whole of paragraph 69 and its subparagraphs, and I'll stop you from time to time to amplify.
I have been informed that Mr. Loftus will testify before the Commission, so I do not repeat the details that is described in the interdict application of the interactions between the Loftus family and members of the SAPS and between Bevan Loftus and Mr. Clive Naika. I merely emphasize the following features of the chronological that emerges from the affidavit of Mr. Gregory Loftus in the interdict application. The financial records obtained by the Commission and the investigation into the killings that IPID have subsequently conducted. Between 29 August 2022 and the end of November 2022, over 430,000 was deposited in cash into the accounts of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife.
Can I stop you then? Can we go to page 1434? And
Are you in file 4? Look
in
at
file
file
4.
4.
In file 4.
It's the thin one.
Okay. 1434 and going over the page to 1435. Just the top two entries on 1435.
Okay, I'm with you.
Can you confirm that those cash deposits reflected on 1434 and going over the page to 1435 exceed in total 430,000?
From the 29th of August.
Which is the top of 143.
That's correct. Right up to the 10th of November.
And then if you go back to 69.2.
On the 13th of December 2022, Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender, warrant of Sir Thanasekaran Sivan Naidu, together with other members of the task team, went to the home of Mr. Gregory Loftus looking for Bevan Loftus. The police officers cited Belair Cares 23 of 2, 2022 and Belair Cares 75 of 12, 2021 in relation to their search.
Now, we're going to go to these dockets now. In 69.4, you say they contain no evidence of consequence implicating Bevan Loftus. I want to put to you that it may be slightly overstated there. No evidence upon which Bevan Loftus could be convicted is what I want to put to you there. There is evidence against Bevan Loftus in these dockets, but it's not evidence on which a responsible prosecution would be launched. I want to submit.
Yes, the evidence that was contained in that docket was where his name was mentioned by the victim. And in one case, there was an alleged witness. But I think with both those statements, looking at the turf war between taxis and drug dealers, there is no conclusive evidence that would have convicted Bevan Loftus.
Well, maybe if we can go to those dockets, and if we start with the 2021 case, and if we can go to file 3, page 866. Maybe 865.
Yeah, 865.
Can you identify that statement?
This statement is made by the victim, Jonathan David Thomas.
And he describes on page 865 being confronted by a man telling him he's not allowed who wanted to know what he was doing there. If you pick up at the top of 866, And this is the identification of Mr. Loftus's involvement, the first identification of Mr. Loftus's involvement.
Yes.
Can you read paragraph 5?
The person by the name of Kupan, he was working for Loftus. He went on further to say that his boss, Bevan, had made it clear that Durban South is not supposed to operate in the area. I know Bevan Loftus to be the owner of First for KZN. He then said that he will fall in inverted commas with me, which means that they'll get involved with each other. I understood fall to be a slang word which is used as a threat to someone's safety. At that point, I felt threatened because I know that they were capable of carrying out their threats. I then drove away onto the N2 northbound on North Ramp and proceeded to the same spot where I was static on the M7 Edwin Soils Drive. I was parked in the same position which was under the trees on the M7 Edwin Soils Drive on the grass verge facing west. I was seated in the vehicle in the driver's seat and waiting for the next call out. I was still emotionally disturbed. Around 14:30, I observed a grey Toyota Corolla which was driven past me at high speed towards the N2 bridge. The driver suddenly stopped about 100 meters ahead and then made a U-turn and drove towards Wakesley Road, which was at the rear. There were 4 occupants in the vehicle. They appeared to be males, but I could not identify anyone. About 10 to 15 minutes later, I observed in my rearview mirror a grey car approaching slowly. Other motorists were overtaking this vehicle. It appeared to me that this vehicle was experiencing a mechanical problem. This vehicle then stopped next to me, which was within a 3-meter distance. I immediately recognized Bevan Loftus seated in the front passenger seat. Kupan was seated in the rear left passenger seat, and I am uncertain who the driver was. The vehicle was a grey Datsun Go 7-seater model. I was unable to retrieve the registration number. I immediately concluded that they were going to attack me. Bevan and Kupan then drew pistol-type firearms and started to shoot at me. I immediately tried to hide and open my passenger door and managed to dive out. By them, I noticed that the vehicle was driven away, but they were still shooting at me. A little further down, they made a U-turn and drove back towards Wakesley Road. At that time, I was running into the bushes. I still had them in sight. After the vehicles disappeared, I returned to my vehicle. I immediately alerted everyone on the radio of the shooting. I managed to locate my cell phone in my vehicle when I heard it ringing. It was my manager, Lucky, who had called to find out what was happening. I explained quickly what happened and told him that I'm going to the yard in Sydney Road. I noticed that there were several bullet holes all over the driver's side of my bakkie. I quickly managed to pick up as many shell casings as possible. They were still hot. I placed them in a face mask and then drove away. I could not see the suspect vehicle anywhere in the vicinity. I then proceeded straight to the yard in Sydney Road. At the yard, I met my boss and his son and my manager, Lucky. I explained to them what had transpired. I also confirmed to them that as much as I was not injured, that I was very shaken up and emotionally. They parked the vehicle in the yard. I indicated that I did not require any medical attention or medical treatment at that time. My boss said that I could take a few days off from work. I took my personal stuffs as well as the shell casings, and Lucky then took me home, where I have been since. On Monday, the 13th of the 12th month, 2021, my boss called me and discussed an appointment for me with the police. I was not yet in a position to meet with the police the same day, so he confirmed an appointment for me for Tuesday, the 14th of December 2021 at 8 o'clock. On Tuesday, the 14th of December 2021 at about 7:30, Lucky fetched me and took me to the police station at about 8 o'clock. I was interviewed by Captain Ruplal, who then recorded my statement. I also handed all the shell casings to a female Captain Naya, who placed them in an exhibit bag with serial number PA 600 400 7379 in my presence. I do not understand why I was attacked in the manner. Bevan is known to me for about 15 years now. I therefore desire a police investigation in the matter.
Now, so this is a statement that does directly implicate Bevan Loftus. Is there any other evidence in the docket that implicates Bevan Loftus?
There's no other statement in the docket. 1 second. Is that Priya?
I can confirm it.
There's no other no other evidence that's implicating him, beside that one statement.
Can I then take you to page 888?
Sorry, Mr. Chaskasan, maybe before you move on, just from my understanding, Mr. John, what do you mean in the light of this direct allegation about Bevan Loftus? When you say there was nothing of consequence, what is lacking that makes you say, I mean, to me, a lay person, that kind of allegation seems to be of consequence towards something. I'm not talking about whether successful prosecution or not. Here's someone who says, I know him, and he was there, he shot me, and I took casings. What do you say lacks from this docket that makes you say there was nothing of consequence?
Commissioner, it's only the version of the victim. And we all know that this was a tough one in the taxi industry, I mean the tow truck industry. So his version have to be tested. What statement he make have to be tested against something, other evidence that's supposed to be obtained, or other witnesses. So yes, there is a link to Bevan, but there is no other evidence beside his statement, the statement of the victim.
Such as what? What would you have expected to be in the docket that would make you say, yes, there is something of consequence? Assuming the docket is still under investigation, what would you expect to find?
Commissioner, the police failed to do their investigation in terms of ballistic reports. They failed to do the tracking of Bevan's cell phone number to the area where the shooting took place. Also, even if the vehicle that Bevan was allegedly to have driven, possibly there would have been AVL or tracker report on that vehicle. So beside the statement of the victim, there is other investigation that the police are supposed to conduct to link Bevan to the case. And if you look at it, that this docket was opened in 2021, and Bevan was killed in 2023. So it is a lot of investigation that could have been put into the docket prior to the shooting and killing of Bevan.
So you're not, and maybe it's my mistake, before looking at the docket and reading your statement, I got the impression that what you're saying is there was nothing that implicates him in under that case number. That's not what you were conveying.
No, Commissioner, the only statement that implicates him is the A1 statement, that's it. And from the investigation, you basically got the A2, which is a copy of the SAP 13, where they ended in the exhibits, and then you got a ballistic report on the exhibits itself. But Bevan's firearm was not seized in order to match whether it's the same firearm. So there's nothing else in the docket beside A1, A2, and A3.
No, thank you.
And just to be clear, Mr. Chaskalson did correct part of your statement to say there is some evidence, but not sufficient to obtain a conviction.
That's correct.
Can I just also ask you to turn to the foot of page 888, spilling over to page 889.
Correct.
First, can you identify who's issuing, or under whose name those notes in the docket appear?
Okay. The entry that was made, that's on the foot of 888. It's an entry made by Captain Govender.
And how does Captain Govender come to be making entries on this docket? Are you aware?
Yes, when the task team decided to go after Bevan, they then went looking for dockets where Bevan was linked to. So they picked up dockets from different stations in the Durban area where his name has been mentioned, in order to possibly to use those dockets when they went looking for him and eventually executed him.
Can I just clarify something? I thought that specific task team, the DPCI task team, their role was to deal with drug-related issues. Now, if these dockets are not drug-related, why are they getting involved in these cases? Say it's an ordinary murder or an ordinary criminal case. Why are they getting involved in these dockets if their role is to fight drugs and drug trafficking?
Commissioner, they basically utilize these dockets to justify their reason for looking for Bevan.
But if they are not looking for him for drug-related cases, why are they even involving themselves in those dockets and those cases?
I got no idea, Commissioner, why. But these dockets, when the shooting of Bevan and the 4 other deceased, these are the case numbers that they gave us. And when the investigating officer in this case, most of these cases was investigated by a Sergeant Govender who fell under the task team. He was incorporated to work with the task team, and he was investigating these dockets.
Okay, thank
The
you.
only evidence in this docket against Bevan was the evidence of Jonathan David Thomas in his A1 statement.
That's correct.
Can I ask you to go back to page 25 of your statement, paragraph 60.2? $60.3.
Yes, okay. Marlon Stewart and Jonathan Thomas of Durban South Towing and panel beaters were murdered in Durban Central CAS 789 of 12/2022.
When would that murder have taken place if the CAS number, with that CAS number?
In December 2022.
Can you go back to the foot of page 888? And the note of then Captain Govender.
It says this entry was made on 2022, 12/2023. The 23rd of December 2022. It says docket inspection, finalize outstanding investigation, trace Bevan Loftus, task crime intelligence, see my entry in Bel-Air, CAS 23 of 3/2022. Information received that victim in this matter was shot and killed in Argyle Road, on the 20th of December 2022.
So can I just stop you at that point? So the only evidence in this docket against Bevan Loftus was the statement of Mr. Thomas, but to the knowledge of Captain Govender, Mr. Thomas had been killed on the 20th of December.
That's correct.
So he was no longer available to be a witness against Mr. Loftus.
That's correct.
Can we then go to the second case, the Bel Air 23/2 of 2022? That's at page 892 of file 3.
Okay.
At 898, once again, there is a A1 statement of Mr. Jonathan David Thomas.
That's correct.
Now, unfortunately, the copy in our bundle is practically illegible. We're going to ask you to give us a more legible copy, but can I ask you to confirm that once again, Mr. Thomas made a statement that accused Mr. Loftus of shooting at him?
That's correct.
In his statement, did Mr. Thomas indicate whether he was alone in the vehicle or whether he had a passenger in the vehicle? Did he mention a passenger in the vehicle?
No, when you read the statement of David Jonathan Thomas, he makes no mention of any passenger in the vehicle.
There is another statement that appears in the docket implicating Mr. Loftus. That's at page 899.
899, that's correct.
This one is legible. Can you read it?
Okay, it says here, I, Eugene Erasmus, states under oath in English, I'm an adult male with date of birth 1984/06/02, age 38 years, residing at 37 Quality Street, Wentworth. I do not have a cell phone and I'm currently unemployed. It states on the 5th of February 2022, at 6 o'clock I was with David Jonathan Thomas in the tow truck, Durban South Towing. We was parked along Edwin Swales Drive, M7 turnoff. While seated on my passenger seat,
On the
Commissioner?
on the passenger seat.
Yeah, on the passenger seat, I noticed a blue Hyundai vehicle that came behind us. Suddenly, I heard gunshots coming from behind us. I then looked in the back to see what was happening and to take cover. I saw Bevan in the passenger seat of the blue Hyundai with his arms out of the vehicle with a rifle and was shooting at us. I then took cover by laying on the floor, and I then screamed for David to take cover, and as soon as the shooting stopped, I opened the passenger door and ran out as I was fearing for my life. When I ran away, I thought David was with me, but he was not. I did not come back immediately because I was fearing for my life. When I came back after an hour, David was already rushed to hospital. I desire further investigation in this matter. I know and understand the contents of the statement. I have no objection in taking the prescribed oath. I consider the prescribed oath to be binding on my conscience. I swear that the contents of the statement is the truth, so help me God.
What's your comment on this statement?
When I interviewed the investigating officer, Sergeant Govender, who worked in the task team.
Sorry, Sergeant Govender, not...
Yes, no, Sergeant Govender.
Sergeant Govender.
So when I interviewed him about the statement, because I pointed out to him that this statement was taken on the 21st of February 2023. And the incident of the shooting was on the 5th of February 2022. So it was a year later that the statement was taken. And I pointed out to him that in the A1 statement, there was no mention of Eugene Erasmus. So I inquired from him, how did he come to know about this witness, Eugene Erasmus? And then he said he was informed by Dina Governor to go and take the statement. Also, when I looked at there's a statement of the ambulance personnel that was parked next to the tow truck. I don't see all the pages of that statement here. I can just point out part of the statement. Part of his statement is 897. Is on page 897. When I looked at that statement, the ambulance driver is talking about a white vehicle that looked like a Nissan Tida that sped off from the shooting. But he doesn't mention who was in the vehicle. So for me, this case also, it's only the statement of A1 that points out to, okay, A1 and then Erasmus, the statement of Eugene Erasmus that points out to Bevan that was involved in the shooting. But if you look at it, the statement of Eugene was taken a year later after the incident. However, A1 in his statement never mentioned about a passenger with him. It would be clear if you parked at 6 o'clock in the morning in a tow truck vehicle, you would know that you got a passenger, and you would mention it in your statement that you were parked there at the Edwin Swales. Maybe you were chatting with your passenger, who is Erasmus. And even in the A1 statement, the A1 doesn't say anything about him saying Erasmus, take cover.
But it does mention Erasmus.
It doesn't mention Erasmus because, to me, I believe that he was alone at the time of the shooting.
Let's then go back to the main statement. Paragraph 69.5, we're talking about the first visit to the house of Mr. Gregory Loftus in December 2022, 69.5.
On arrival at the premises, Mr. Gregory Loftus informed Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender that Bevan was not at home. The members of the task team forcefully broke the lock of Bevan Loftus, which was searched without a search warrant. Mr. Michigan Ippolite was inside the home of Bevan Loftus. He was allegedly waterboarded by the task team who wanted him to disclose the whereabouts of Bevan Loftus. Mr. Ippolite would later be one of the men killed on the 1st of April 2023. Members of the task team recovered an alleged stolen vehicle which was found on the premises. Gregory Loftus informed Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender that the vehicle was towed by one of the drivers being employed by Bevan Loftus and was being retained because the towing and storage costs remain unpaid. He claimed to have shown the SAPS members an advertisement in the independent newspaper indicating that the vehicle was to be sold to recover the outstanding cost. Members of the task team also claimed to have recovered a AK-47 AK-7 bullet from the property of Bevan Loftus. The task team arrested Gregory Loftus. Gregory alleged that Lieutenant Colonel Governor stated that Gregory Loftus would be released if Bevan handed himself to the police. Mr. Gregory Loftus was detained in custody before being released on the 22nd of December 2022. Bevan Loftus was informed that Clive Naika had offered Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender 2.5 million to kill him. On the 25th of January 2023, Bevan Loftus phoned Clive Naika to confront him about this. A recording of this call has been retained, and a transcript of the call is contained in the bundle, as appears from the transcript.
Before we get, maybe we could go to that transcript. It's at page 3 of the bundle.
Page 3 of which bundle?
File 1.
File 1. Okay, I'm on page 3.
And while you're at page 3, can I ask you also to go to page 42, which is part of the interdict papers, and just to confirm that the same transcript was part of the interdict papers.
That's correct.
Can we then read through the transcript?
Page 3.
Or 42, they're the same document.
All right, the caller was Bevan Loftus, first for KZN Towing, and the receiver was Clive Naika Roadstar. Date, 25th of January 2023, between 5:30 and 6:30. Bevan Loftus speaks, he says, Roadstar, Mr. Clive himself, how are you? Clive Naika states, yes, who is this here? Bevan Loftus says, Lekker, lots of money, 2.5 on my head now. Clive Naika, who is this here? Who is this here? Bevan, you killed my uncle, you. Bevan Loftus, yes, and there's crosstalk in between. How you can phone Dane to tell Dane to set me up? Clive Naika, I phoned Dane. I don't even know who Dane is. Bevan Loftus, yes, I never ever fought with you. I have no problem with you, but it looks like you are after me. You are paying Dino Govender. You are paying all the Carols to do all this thing to me. I never had nothing to do with you. I have never minded your business. I have got no flop with you. But Bali, you went out of your way to do all these things to me. You want to kill me and all that kind. Bali, where's the numbers? Clive Naika, I don't. Are you making allegations against me or you are telling me the facts? Bevan speaks, I am asking you, where are the numbers, Bali? Clive Naika, let's start off now. Let's start off. Bevan Loftus, I never fuck all to you. Check here, I done fuck all to you. Clive Naika, firstly, you are telling the people I killed Regan. Bevan Loftus, see, Bali, see how I took that. No flop, you want to kill me, right? No flop. The fastest live the longest, right? Lekker. And Clive say, what's that?
Now, in your statement back at page 30, you highlight certain features of the transcript from 6911.1 onwards.
From the transcript, Mr. Naika was initially unable to identify Bevan Loftus as a caller. Because if you see, when Bevan contacts Clive, Clive say, yes, who is this? But as soon as Bevan mentions the 2.5 million price on his head, Mr. Naika immediately identifies him as Bevan. So it shows that he was fully aware of the 2.5 million hit on Bevan.
But sometimes, for a few seconds, you may not recognize the voice of someone that you don't talk to all the time. But as they continue speaking, you may end up recognizing the voice. So I'm not sure that the inference you draw is necessarily plausible.
I gather from what you're saying, Commissioner, but when I look at it, immediately when the 2.5 million was mentioned, then Clive Naika say, who is this here? Who is this here? Bevan, you.
But you are repeating exactly what you say, and that's what I'm querying. So basically, you've not responded to what I'm saying to you. I'm saying what you say is not necessarily plausible, because it does happen that you may not recognize the voice of someone talking to you over the phone, someone that you don't talk to all the time. So you may, for a few seconds, not recognize the voice, but as the person continues speaking, you then recognize the voice. So it's on that basis that I say what you say is not necessarily plausible. So you cannot answer me by repeating what you've said.
I can. The reason why I indicated that, Commissioner, because this conversation was quick, very quick. It wouldn't be like where there was some time that Clive took to recognize a voice.
Has it never happened to you that for a few seconds you may not recognize the voice of someone that you know for a few seconds, but maybe within a few seconds you come to recognize the voice? Are you saying that has never happened to you? If you say so, I'll be very surprised.
No, it does, Commissioner, but it actually takes longer to recognize the voice, or maybe a longer conversation. But here, it was only like 2 lines. 2 lines, and immediately Clive recognized it was Bevan.
I'm not sure that scientifically one can actually time it and say you can only recognize the voice after a minute or anything like that. It just depends. Maybe within seconds, it may be longer, but I don't think scientifically it just has to be over this length of time.
I'll take your point, Commissioner.
And the fact that there was mention of 2.5 million should not change what you and I are engaging about. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Shaskowski.
69.11.3.
Okay, Bevan Loftus expressly accused Mr. Naika of paying Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender, who he describes as Dino Govender. And immediately before the call ended, Bevan Loftus stated, "The fastest lives the longest." On the 3rd of February 2023, the task team again returned to the Loftus family home, but Bevan fled the scene. According to Mr. Loftus, Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and Warrant Officer Sivan Naidu told him that Bevan had been involved in a shooting incident where Ox members were shot at earlier that day. They also accused Bevan of threatening to kill Captain Valley of SAPS Brighton Beach. According to Gregory Loftus, Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and Warrant Officer Sivan Naidu said that they had come to the property not to arrest Bevan, but to kill him. And they allegedly told Gregory Loftus that he should get Bevan's funeral insurance up to date because they were going to kill Bevan. They again searched the home of Bevan Loftus and again arrested Gregory Loftus. On the 1st of April 2023, a day after Gregory Loftus had issued his interdict application, members of the task team under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender arrived at the flat in Morningside, Durban, where they believed Bevan Loftus was hiding. The task team entered the flat. They alleged that Bevan Loftus and the other 4 occupants shot at the police, and they returned fire, fatally wounding all 5. Despite allegedly being shot at by 5 suspects, none of the members of the task team suffered any gunshot injuries, or indeed any other injuries. The shooting of the 5 occupants occurred between 12:30 and 1300 hours on the 1st of April. IPOD officials on standby were only called out 14:35. IPOD members on standby arrived at the scene at 1500 hours. On arrival of the IPOD investigator, Ms. Fortunate Ndembele, she was allowed entrance to the scene as the members from the local criminal record center was waiting to process the scene. Ms. Fortunate Ndembele stated that Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender was present outside the scene, and she requested to speak to the members who were involved in the shooting. Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender indicated that the members had already left the crime scene. No one knew the whereabouts of the members. The scene was processed whilst IPOD officials were present. The docket was subsequently registered, and the investigations were taken over by IPOD KZN.
Can I take you up on one issue? You say that none of the members of the task team suffered any gunshot injuries or indeed any other injuries.
Yeah, in fact, one member that was Pedro Rodriguez, his bulletproof vest had a gunshot hole right at the bottom. So there was one gunshot hole, which he alleges that was at the same incident. He was shot on that bulletproof vest.
And did he suffer any injuries on the day?
No, no injuries.
Was there other evidence other than the injuries, evidence that the police were shot at, such as used cartridges, holes on the walls,
Yes.
damage to the property?
Yes, there were cartridges found from various firearms. The evidence of the cartridges found at the fire on the scene of those various cartridges is still being tested because Bevan Loftus had his own firearm, his private firearm. And one would, if you have a private firearm, you would not use an unlicensed firearm if you're defending yourself. Or if you're shooting at the police, you wouldn't use an unlicensed firearm. You would use your own private firearm. The issue here is that they did not know that police were coming to the flat because they did not give permission to anyone to come to the flat. Because remember, I indicated earlier on, is that the occupants of that premises must indicate to the security downstairs that they can allow people to come up. So they did not allow or indicate to the security for anyone to come up. They only indicated to one person, who was the person that was picked up by the police in Pinetown. They picked him up for a shooting that happened at Greenwood Park. And when they interrogated him, he indicated that he knows where Bevan resides, or where they were in hiding. So they took him to the flat, and basically he was the one that requested for permission to come up. So they knew that the person that's coming up is well known to them. So they would not be armed to start shooting at their own friend that's coming to visit them. So when the person went in, he knocked on the door and he went inside, then the shooting took place. Now he was first in line when he got into the house, but he was not shot at, he was not injured. But if you look at the photo album of the shooting, the police indicated that they retreated into hiding when they were shooting, but the 4 deceased was lying in a line. They were all lined up and they were shot at. If you see, some of the deceased have water on the clothing. It points out that they may have been tortured first and then killed from the photos that we have seen.
So you are implying that the scene was staged?
That's correct. And if you look at the photos, you will be able to determine some of those things. I don't want to go too much in detail because the case is still ongoing. Even the post-mortem reports show that the shooting was from top to bottom. The post-mortem reports. What was also that gives us an indication that this could have been an hit is that the photos of the deceased at the crime scene circulated on social media even before even before LCRC, the local criminal record center, could get to the scene. The photos already circulated on social media. And that's how the families of the deceased came to know that their children died in that shooting. Now, it could have been that the photos were circulated to one person to say that we've done the hit now, you can do the payment. And that person could have sent it to everyone via his social media. That could be the reason why those photos went out.
I want clarification on 2 issues. You say they were lined up. The bodies were lined up. Can you explain what exactly you mean? Just explain being lined up.
They were lined up next to each other.
Chair, the pictures are in the bundle. They're not. They shouldn't be displayed.
No,
But maybe if I can ask you to look at file 2, page 699.
699.
$99.
That's correct.
I do see 3.
That photo doesn't depict a gun battle between the deceased and the police.
Yeah, there's one showing, I think, this part of the body, far left-hand side of the picture.
He was close to the...
A red T-shirt.
Yes, he was close to the balcony.
I'm not altogether sure that I would say they are lined up, but I guess it's a matter of what? Interpretation of what one sees in the picture, especially if you look at the one on the far left, the one showing partly on the picture. But anyway, okay, that was the one issue.
Chair, the reason why I indicated, Commissioner, the reason why I indicated this is that the police said that they came under fire by the deceased.
Yes.
Okay, now looking at that, if they came under fire, all three of them would not have been standing at the same place. They would have been taking cover, maybe one in the room, one in the kitchen, if they know they're coming under fire. But here they were
close. The bodies are close to each other.
Yes, yes. And there are other evidence that's in this file that we don't want to disclose because it's still under, it still has to go to the DPP's office.
Okay. The other thing I want clarification on, you also said that someone who has a licensed firearm would not use their own licensed firearm to shoot at police. Did I understand you correctly?
In fact,
or am I? Or did you say the opposite?
The opposite, Chair.
Can you repeat the opposite?
Okay. If you want to defend yourself,
yes,
you would not use an unlicensed firearm. You would rather use a licensed firearm if you have a licensed firearm, because then you are justified that you use a licensed firearm in defending yourself. The justification becomes difficult when you use an unlicensed firearm. Where else you have a licensed firearm?
Unless you are hopeful that you just might escape, and therefore you use the unlicensed firearm so that nothing links you to your you use the unlicensed with the hope that you then do not get linked to your licensed firearm. So that too is a possibility, I would imagine, or not?
But if you're defending yourself, Chair, you're not going to use an unlicensed firearm if you have a licensed firearm.
But you are never sure that the facts will be accepted that you were indeed defending yourself.
Because
especially look what's happening here. The overall or the overarching picture is a picture of people who are involved in gangs, and one of your headings even refers to gang wars. So, in a sense, fine, he ran away because of threats. I don't know whether I'm not mixing up the cases. But if it's people involved in gang wars, they may well have been, or they could possibly have been fugitives. And if that be the case, one cannot just say one could only use their licensed firearm. Not if people were involved in gang wars and who possibly could even have been fugitives from the law. So you can say that about you, perhaps.
Okay.
And you are not suspected of any criminality, you've not run away from anybody, you are in your house and you are defending yourself. So you can make your statement about yourself in that kind of situation. But if you're talking about people that you say were rival gangs and drugs, towing gangs, and so on, so you're not talking about people who are like you. Do you see what I mean?
I agree, Commissioner.
So you cannot discount the possibility that one could use a licensed firearm in those circumstances.
I take your point, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Just, you offered an explanation, a possible explanation why the sin, this killing, would have ended up on social media before you were called, and before, I think you said even before the LCRC were called. And your explanation is that maybe it was to show whoever is the payer From evidence that we've had, and I just want to put this to you to hear what your comment is, from other matters, that the police in fact have WhatsApp groups in which they communicate to do with operations. We've had instances where certain pictures were shared with other people, and the explanation is, well, we shared in the group, because to say we've done this operation. Is that something that you're prepared to entertain as a possible explanation, how this scene could have ended up on social media?
I won't rule that out, Commissioner. I'll take it as a possible explanation.
All right, thank you.
Should we take the adjournment now, Mr. Shaskalson, or do you want to cover
Chair,
something?
We're close.
Oh,
we are close to the end, so it may make sense to
let's
finish
do
this.
this. Let's do it.
Mr. Selson, before you go to the end, if we go back to page 30, I think we've already dealt with the issue of the funds and how they find their way into Mr. and I assume Mrs. Cavender's bank accounts. What was not clear to me is who or what is the source of those funds. Did we clarify that?
It's all cash deposits.
So we
don't know where the cash comes
to
from.
the person that we say was possibly paid to conduct the hit or to do other things. We can't link it to that person.
We can't link to any specific individual through the money flows.
Okay.
But what we do have is cash deposits aggregating to almost
2.7.
9 times the annual salary, annual take-home pay.
And then that confirmation from the attorneys, it does not provide any assistance.
Again, it's cash deposits. It seems that the cash would have been deposited by a Lieutenant Colonel Govender and his wife themselves. Certainly, in some of the instances, that seems to appear from the bank transaction records. But where the cash came from originally, we don't know.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. John, what remains is your conclusions from page 32 through to page 34. I wonder if you want to take the Commission through those conclusions.
Okay. The task team led by Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender operates under dubious circumstances with no clear reporting lines and structure. In cases where the deceased are shot for involvement in cash in transit ICE, there is often no meaningful evidence linking them to any such offences in the province. In most cases, no rifles, explosives, explosive device, banknotes, or banknote boxes are found on the scene of the shooting, as would ordinarily be the case in a cash-in-transit operation seeking out suspects. Despite members of the task team constantly alleging that they only opened fire after having been shot at by suspects, in the overwhelming majority of cases, there is no evidence of any SAPS member being shot, even in the bulletproof vest, except the one case in the Morningside shooting. In most cases of killings by the task team, IPID is not informed immediately of the incident, and the task members leave the scene of crime before IPID is able to arrive. This interferes with the ability of IPID to conduct its investigation. The modus operandi utilized by the members appear to be designed not to arrest suspects, to have them linked to an alleged crime that has been investigated but rather to kill the suspects. The existence of a task team able to kill suspects without any apparent consequences is a situation which is not only unacceptable in a constitutional state, it is also open to exploitation by organized crime gangs wanting to pay for rivals to be killed. The killing of Bevan Loftus, Cecily Zondi, Ryan Santosh, Chase Finn, and Michigan Hippolyte has a range of disturbing features that are consistent with a deliberate extrajudicial killing paid for by an organized crime competitor. The fact that on the 31st of March, the day before the killing of Bevan Loftus by the task team led by Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender, Gregory Loftus had an interdict application issued specifically to prevent the killing of his son by Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender. The fact that Bevan Loftus had been given an advance notice that Mr. Naika had allegedly offered a 2.5 million payment for his killing, and that in his call to Mr. Naika immediately identified Bevan Loftus when he raised the issue of the 2.5 million offer. Chair, can we take a break quickly? Commissioner, can we take a break quickly?
Let us do so. We'll come back when indicated. Please continue, Mr. John.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that indulgence. Commissioner, the 79.2, the fact that Bevan Loftus had been given advance notice that Mr. Naika had allegedly offered a 2.5 million payment for his killing, and that in his call to Mr. Naika immediately identified Bevan Loftus when he raised the issue of the 2.5 million offer. The fact that on the 16th of August 2022, Lieutenant Colonel Dina Governor's car stopped and switched off its ignition for 7.5 minutes outside Mr. Clive Naika's home. The fact that in the 16 months following 16th of August 2022, over 2 million was deposited in cash into accounts of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife. Another 200,000 for benefits of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife was paid in cash into a trust account of the conveyance attorneys handling the transfer of a 2.35 million property which they had purchased. Another transfer of 299,800 rand was paid into the home loan account of Lieutenant Colonel Dina Govender and his wife, and the aggregate amounts so paid comes to just over 2.5 million.
Sorry, we add a zero to...
Yes, we add a zero to...
79.4.3. Please continue.
That's my last point, Chair.
Just ask, and you can say if, Mr. Chaskalson, if someone else will be testifying and making it clearer. You've spoken of Mr. Naika and Bevan Loftus in the context of gangs and towing truck and drugs. You've spoken to them in that context. Now, it's in your evidence. It's not it's not clear, or you haven't demonstrated that Mr. Naika, for example, in acting and accepting for purpose of your evidence or my discussion with you, that Colonel Naika, not Naika, Govender, was indeed doing Mr. Naika's bidding. Let's assuming that's what he was doing with this operation. Where do we see that this is Mr. Naika as a gang leader and a drug, whether trafficker, operator, someone involved in that, utilizing Colonel Govender and his task team for that purpose? Because that connection would come close to speaking to our terms of reference, that kind of connection. But from the evidence, so far it looks on the face of it as a competing businessman in the tow truck business takes out a rival and uses rogue police officers. On the face of it, that's what it looks like from how you've testified. Are we going to be getting evidence that places this transaction that you say happened between Mr. Naika and Colonel Govender and his team in the context of gangs, drugs, and effectively infiltration of gangs of the police?
Chair, I think it's better for me to answer that question. The short answer is yes. There will be evidence to that effect. It will involve evidence of undercover crime intelligence operations, and it is evidence which will, at the instance of the witness, have to be held in camera, but that we will address there.
And it will speak to this transaction?
It will specifically to that issue.
Okay, thank you.
We're done for the day, Mr. Chaskalson.
I'm afraid we are, Chair. We finished sooner than anticipated, and our next witness is only available tomorrow morning.
Let's adjourn and resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning.